3-2 overtime win for Team Teal at Madison Square Garden on a huge stage against a very good 3-1 Rangers team into tonight. Their power play, lethal. Their lineup, skillful. The Sharks had no momentum, no wins in 5 tries. They just got beat by the Islanders, allowing the final 3 goals of the game. And Nico Sturm had some strong words. David Quinn had some strong words after last game. So it kind of makes you wonder, like looking back at tonight, was it a response from the way last game went on Tuesday out on the island? And was tonight also, as much of it was a response, was it also a statement by this team that they did not quit? You could easily argue that they got better as the game went longer. It is still a rough second period, right? They still got outshot 13-4 and outscored 2-1 in that middle frame. That is just an area that is hard to not describe. Like, it's clear to see. They've been outscored 14-2 this entire season now. 14-3 this entire season now. But that's a very one-sided middle period still. Like, it's going to take some time to work yourself out of that. But other trends continued. Sharks scored first for a 5th straight game. They got a goal in the power play. It was the captain, Logan Couture. His second of the season, that long rebound. Cunnin and Carlson with assists. And so, yeah, now the Sharks still only 2 for 22 on the power play, but getting one tonight that made all the difference. It's important to understand where the Sharks were in this game before we get to the conclusion. Down 2-1, winless. The Rangers might score a 3rd goal in that second period, but they don't. In fact, the Sharks get the next one. Radim Šimek's first of the season, 13-10 in, and you already saw it, so I don't need to play you the clip, but I do want to add this thought. I mean, was that the most Brent Burns scoring play from a D-man you've seen since Burnsy was a Shark? and don't get me wrong, like Carlson keeping it on his tape and his toe and everything else in between in overtime, that was equally impressive. But from a guy like Šimek, where maybe you don't expect that offense from him, you don't expect him to be jumping into play like he did and have Nieto feed him in the slot, and he breaks his stick too on the play. It was all just so like, when it happened, I clearly comprehended what I just witnessed, but I was like, I need to see 6 replays of that. What in the world just happened? Kind of caught me off guard a little bit. But really happy to see that. And as you sum up the second period, Sharks get outshot heavily. Sharks get outscored 2-1. But still, based on how middle frames had went this year, still one of their best second periods of the season. And now, I hope they get drastically better than that, but it wasn't the complete implosion tonight as it had been in prior games. But I also want to address 2 things. The Sharks penalty kill, yet again, perfect tonight. And it was tested mightily, especially in the first period. The Sharks took 4 penalties in the first frame. Cunnin for interference. By the way, Luke Cunnin took 3 penalties tonight. Cunnin for interference. Benning chipped one over the glass for a delay of game. And then Šimek went in the box later for tripping. And then Cunnin went in later for slashing. So it was a cornucopia there of penalties and infractions by the Sharks. But, a first period where you scored, and you scored first, and you scored the only goal. But, man, that Ranger power play, if the Sharks' penalty kill wasn't as good as it has been, and if James Reimer wasn't as good as he has been, the Sharks could at least be tied or even down after 20 minutes. Instead, they were up 1-0. I want to throw this out there too. James Reimer's workload. We finally got away from the pair of back-to-backs to start the season, right? 2 in Prague and then 2 at SAP Center last weekend. It was clear to see that with these games on this road trip stretched out, I'm under the impression that Reimer will probably start 3 of 4. Now, I don't think he's going to start next game against the Devils. That's probably a Kakinen start. I think. It's another back-to-back, right? Between New Jersey on Saturday morning and the Flyers on Sunday afternoon/evening, depending on where you're watching. To me, it seems likely and reasonable that you would do another split And you'd probably get Kakinen in there sooner than later so that he can avoid, just another extra day of rust, so to speak. But I think what's happening, right, is that Reimer has yet to have even a bad game. And you could throw scores out the window like last time out, 5-2. Okay, he wasn't on the ice for one of them. There were two incredibly skillful Islanders goals and plays, and then I think he was hung out to dry on another goal. So never yet a bad performance by James Reimer or Kakinen for that matter. But I think sometimes the defense and the team effort translates into a misconception about the goalie. And again, if you've been watching these games, you'll probably agree, nothing but good things from James Reimer so far this season. Of all the rough trends that we're not really thrilled about with the Sharks, right? And there's quite a few, like the power play, just lack of goals, second periods, depth scoring, all that stuff. One thing that's been great is their ability to score first. Now, before tonight, had it worked out in their favor? Ultimately, no. But to me, in watching the Sharks over all these years, there's something about being on the scoreboard first that kind of like punches in your time card to work. It lets you know that they're in the game, they're mentally and physically invested in the game, they've done something to get on the board first. Quite honestly, the Rangers, they had 2 grade A scoring chances within the first 20 seconds of tonight's game. It could have been 1 or 2-0 like that. And it wasn't. What's the best part about tonight's second period? Not getting outshot, not getting outscored. It's that you ultimately got the game-tying goal when you could have flopped and fell over, and Radim Šimek did not do that. So look, was tonight a response from Quinn's comments and Nico's comments the other day? Maybe. Was it a statement? I don't know. Will we find out this weekend that Sharks win again on Saturday? Maybe even Sunday. Oh, then now they've won 3 in a row after losing their first 5 straight. I'm getting way ahead of myself here. But I think what they do next is important to all this. What's a good road trip right now for the Sharks of these 4 games? You lost your first one. You win this one in overtime. I mean, at this point, splitting the weekend and coming back with 2 wins in 4 games, it's achievable and it's not bad by any means. If you come home with 1 win, right, and you had the streak, and then you win tonight, and then you lose quick back-to-back games, you kind of one step forward, 1 step back. You're right back kind of where you started from and being probably frustrated all over again. So gotta probably get one this weekend to feel good about the road trip. And honestly, it would be a boost to come back 500 like that. Quinn, yes, 100% great story. For him to get the win, but I think for the team to rally in this game and the timing of that, incredible, right? And it's a personal story, and it does mean something. No doubt about that. So there are deeper levels and layers to that. As for the rest of your comment here, I want to temper my excitement about tonight. Great win. Love the fact that they turned it on and showed you who they were. They bent but didn't break, as a lot of people have said. But to be a playoff team, you need to do this, I don't even want to say on a consistent basis. You need to do this on a regular basis. Are they capable of that? I would hope so, right? But it's one thing to do it, but it's another thing to do it over and over, and when you least expect it and when you're not supposed to. That is when I think we get to playoff conversation, things like that. But again, I still think the entire franchise is in a process right now.